Everybody wants 10 warm leads a month. Everybody wants strangers to come to them for work instead of begging strangers. How do the pros generate that predictable stream of leads without posting on job boards or cold emailing anyone at scale? Here's the immediate answer. Warm leads don't appear because you put yourself out there. They appear because you've defined one specific, painful, urgent problem that you solve for one specific person. And you've learned how to talk about it in a way that nobody else does. Pros don't start with marketing. Pros start with positioning. So the real question becomes, once you define your problem and your person, how do you translate that into a lead engine that runs 24/7? That's what we're building today. So I got 5 pretty tactical sections for us here. Let's start with section 1, the positioning foundation, which is where the battle is won. So here's the inside baseball on this. Freelancers don't struggle with lead generation. They struggle with being forgettable. So a warm lead engine starts with this one sentence. I solve specific, urgent, painful problem for specific person to specific result. If that sentence isn't sharp, nothing else is going to work, right? Their pain must be visible so they can point to it, costly, so that means lost revenue, wasted time, poor conversions, and current. So it's something that doesn't need to be solved someday. It needs to be solved now. If it's not all 3, you're making this whole thing way harder than it needs to be. This lets you instantly filter platforms, outreach, messaging, content, everything. Without this step, every marketing tactic dulls, and all the advice that you get on the internet about the different levers to pull to grow your business becomes 70% less effective. Most people get frustrated because they're doing all the right things and they're working really hard, but they're not getting a result. And that's likely because they didn't get specific here. Their offer doesn't solve a costly, urgent problem for a specific industry. But once you know your audience and their costly, urgent pain, how do you know to get their attention? Brings us to section 2. Which is to place yourself where the pain lives, right? This is where pros separate from beginners. Most freelancers pick platforms that they're going to show up on based on comfort. So like maybe they pick Instagram because that's where they are the most anyways in their personal lives. Pros pick platforms based on buyer habitat. Like where are those clients in that specific niche most active? So here's a good breakdown if you want to take some notes. If your audience is decision makers, founders, operators, LinkedIn's where you want to be. If they sell visually or emotionally, Instagram. If they ask technical questions, right? Reddit, niche forums are good go-tos. If they buy through trust, community, relationships, take a hard look at Facebook groups and that serve that niche. If they learn through peers, masterminds, associations, and if they're local service businesses, local Facebook groups, right? Pros don't guess at this stuff. They reverse engineer buyer behavior. A designer targeting e-commerce founders has no business wasting time on TikTok, right? A photographer targeting brides shouldn't be on LinkedIn. A copywriter writing for SaaS shouldn't be showing up in 15 different Facebook groups, right? Your positioning determines your presence. But being present, while it's a good start, isn't enough. So what do you say in those habitats to actually create demand? You lead with the pain, not your skills. Warm leads happen because of recognition, not because of outreach. Your messaging should hit 3 different notes. First, name the problem better than they can. Your ads are dying because your product pages don't convert. Fix that and everything's going to get easier downstream. 2, Expose the cost of doing nothing. If you keep sending traffic to a page that's leaking 80% of buyers, your ad spend will never make sense. And then 3, offer the first step for free. Here's 3 changes I'd make in the first 48 hours. Or here's this free download that I make for all my clients. I thought you'd find it useful. Pros, speak the buyer's internal monologue out loud. That's why their content gets saved and shared and remembered and acted upon. And they do it consistently for years. You need to be the last person that a potential client heard talking about this problem at the moment when this problem arrives at their doorstep, right? So that's where the consistency piece comes in. And then this messaging only, becomes warm leads when it intersects with visibility. So how do you guarantee people see it? I made it simple for you. 3 Ps: proof, presence, and pull. Proof: micro case studies, Loom audits, before and after snippets. These create instant trust, all right? Presence: commenting strategically on posts that your audience is already reading, right? This is an underrated hack. These are like each one of these comments is like a mini billboard for your business in somebody else's stadium. Pull: every piece of content should end with a soft opening. If you're dealing with this, message me. Happy to share some ideas. This puts you in front of the right people, and it trains your market to see you as the go-to for that specific pain. And then it's about turning that visibility into actual warm leads reaching out to you, which brings us to section 5, which I will call the demand engine. Here's how pros turn presence into predictable inbound. Fun to say. I could say that a couple. Pros turn presence, predictable inbound. Pros turn presence. First, use breadcrumb content, right? Share the first 10% of your solution publicly, to get them on the hook for the 90% that's behind the pay gate. Next, respond to pain signals instantly. Any comment that says, following, any DM that says curious, any like on a post, those are all buying signals, not vanity metrics. You better believe if somebody DMs me, they're immediately tagged as a lead, and we immediately go about the business of figuring out, what problems we can solve for them. And then lastly, create referral gravity. Ask for the referrals. After every win, ask, hey, is anyone else in your world struggling with this right now? Because warm leads produce warm leads. It's amazing how many freelancers sleep on this one. Talking becomes optional, selling becomes easy, and this engine just kind of runs quietly in the background. Just remember, a warm lead engine isn't built on tactics. It's built on ruthless clarity. One problem for one person to one outcome. From there, your presence, messaging, and proof do the heavy lifting, right? Now, if you want more detailed, actionable videos like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you want to take it a step further and bring your goals and questions to me in a group coaching setting and in my community, join the freelancing program. Links in the description. You can learn all about it over there. All right, see you at the next one.